Hey, what's up? My name's JMJ Lee and welcome to my channel. This time I want to talk about researching places without traveling there. So, I don't know if you've ever been in this position or maybe you plan to be in this position in the future where you need to write about a place you've never been. And this could be another country, right? In a whole other part of the world that you can't easily get to. You can't just drop what you're doing and book a flight to Japan and go and wander around Japan and take notes and go, where's the thing that I need for the, right? You can't easily do that. I know I can't, right? So the idea for this video came around when I was writing my latest work in progress, and I can't tell you too much about it, but I can tell you that it takes place in various places in Europe and Asia. And as of this moment, I don't have plans to travel to those particular places or all those particular places. And I'm certainly not going to be able to get to them before before I want to finish this book. It would take years, right? Plan these big trips and everything like that. So how do I write detailed information on what certain places look like in other countries beyond, I don't know, doing like a Google image search or looking up a Wikipedia page or something like that? What if I want to go deeper and really get into details? You know, like what's right on the street, like what's across the street from the temple and that sort of stuff. You know, what does it look like a block away when I'm walking to the temple, right? I'm using some temple as an example, right? I don't know. So what can we do as authors to learn about these places in depth as much as we can without going there? And it turns out there's a few tools that I use, and I wanted to pass them on to you because they might be helpful for you. Okay, so the first one is Google Maps, right? That's an easy one. That's an easy one. I spent a lot of time in Google Maps writing the sequel for The Unlife of Lisa Cooper. Even though I'd been to Ireland, I went to Ireland specifically, well, not only to research the book, I wanted to see Ireland anyway, but I did a lot of research in Ireland, but you know, I didn't get to all the places in Ireland that I wrote about. So I had to use Google Maps a lot of times to, you know, get that satellite view, zoom in, get the street view. That really helped. I was able to describe, you know, Lisa actually driving up to these places and what that looked like and where she parked and what that looked like and stuff like this. Oh, there's a little stone wall about yay high, about 3 feet high that she parked alongside. I wouldn't have known that with just, you know, Google Maps satellite view, but street view really helped me out a lot. So using all that satellite imagery, big help. Another thing that I found, and I used this on my current work in progress, is there are YouTube channels out there that will just record driving around with dash cams, and particularly in Europe, Asia, and that sort of thing. Like if someone wants to say, oh, I want to write a story that takes place in Germany and they're driving down the Autobahn, I'm sure you can find a dash cam video of what the Autobahn looks like. So you have an idea of everyone speeding through, driving really fast, flashing headlights at each other, whatever it looks like. I didn't research it, but I'm sure the stuff is out there, right? And get a good idea of these kind of dash cam videos and what's going on. Also on YouTube, you'll find travel vlogs and things like this where people are like, they've gone to these places, and maybe they've gone to sites that you want to write about, and they'll include all this other stuff that you may not know. Like maybe you want to write about the Louvre, right? Maybe your characters go to the Louvre in France or the Eiffel Tower, and you know, you go to Google Images and you see pictures, but you're like, okay, what does that really tell me? Well, maybe someone did a travel vlog and they actually show you going into like the guest area and buying a ticket and what that looks like and the process, and maybe there's a queue, and what does that look like when they're standing in line, and the pamphlets that you get, and all this kind of stuff. You can include that level of detail if you can find someone that's recorded it. YouTube has a wealth of information for researching other countries and travel and things like that. So that's something I would definitely look at. And the third thing I would include are the websites of some of these places. Now, maybe your character's going to some, I don't know, some forest in Lithuania somewhere, and that random forest doesn't have a web page. You know, maybe Google Maps satellite view is the best thing for you in that case. But maybe your characters are going to the Eiffel Tower, right? And you go to the Eiffel Tower website, and maybe there's more information, right? Maybe there's a gift shop in the Eiffel Tower. Is there? I don't know. I didn't research it, but maybe there is. And you wouldn't have known that just on a Google image search or a satellite view. But maybe when you go into the site of the actual attraction itself, there's more information. If there's a museum, there's a scene that I'm writing, I can tell you, where my characters go into a museum. Well, I was really excited to find out that on that museum's website, they have a virtual tour. So I could actually, mouse through and use my arrow keys and navigate through the halls of this museum, see all the exhibits. So now, when they go to this museum, when I write that scene and they're looking for a very particular artifact in this museum, I can actually tell and describe which stairs they go down, which direction they turn, left or right, what other exhibits are near the one they're looking for, what the sign says next to the exhibit. I was able to zoom in and read the little plaque right next to the artifact. That was like a gold mine for me, right? But this kind of stuff exists, especially if your characters are going to someplace really well-known, an attraction, historical or anything like that. So those are the big three that I would recommend. Google Maps with the satellite view and street view, YouTube, right? Dash cam videos, travel vlogs, and websites, should they exist, of the attractions that you're going to. If your characters are indeed going to some sort of attraction or landmark or national monument or whatever, right? You might get a lot more information than, say, Google Images. So that about wraps it up. How to take a chance at describing a place, especially in a foreign country that you've never been to, with as much detail as you can. Remember, you're not gonna, detail everything. You're not gonna dump 3 or 4 paragraphs of what, what the queue waiting outside the Eiffel Tower looks like. But if you can describe it just enough so that a reader who's been there can look at it and go, oh yeah, I remember that. And take them back there, remember a little detail that connects those memories. Because the last thing you want is someone who's been to those places to read your story and think, well, that's not what that looks like. That's not how that is. That isn't there, right? You want someone that's been there to connect with it and say, oh yeah, I remember that. That's what that looks like. Yep. And if you can fool someone into thinking you've actually been there, score, right? Yeah. All right, so that about wraps it up. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please smush that like button. And as always, please subscribe. You can follow me on a plethora of different social media platforms. I hope that you do. I'm most active on Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook these days. And you can check out jmchately.com. Lots of stuff out there. Information on my releases, on my appearances, and you can sign up for my newsletter. Send me a message. I'm always good at corresponding back. All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.